Yo, welcome everybody back to the JV Sports Room. As usual, your host, JDino. The other half of the team behind the scenes, my man Vince.
Yeah.
Holding down the Kobe corner. Big body boy himself.
Yes, sir.
Big J, welcome back.
Yes, sir. Glad to be back. Let's do this thing again.
Yes, sir. And little small ball. So we got my man Javi in the center spot.
Yeah.
Welcome back, my man.
It's good to be back running guard out here.
Get it?
My man guard in the center spot. He Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
But hey, man, let's start it off at the top. Let's tip it off with the NBA, man. We got a big NBA lineup here. So let's talk about the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry winning his fourth championship.
Another one.
Mm-hmm.
First finals MVP, though.
First one.
Finally got one.
Got it.
Well deserved. Well overdue, right? Let's talk about it, man. How you guys feel about this series? What did we just witness?
We witnessed the crowning of the modern day San Antonio Spurs. That's what I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say the Golden State Warriors are the modern day San Antonio Spurs. Why? San Antonio was known for Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. These Golden State Warriors, very similar with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson. This is a dynasty now. You know, we have to start putting this team up in the ranks of the Spurs, of the Bulls, you know, of those 90s eras and 2000s eras. This was a big championship for the Warriors, but more so for Steph Curry, like you mentioned, with getting that Finals MVP under his belt.
Props to him, man. It's got to, you know, we've talked about the guard conversation of all time, but I feel like it's definitely planted him in that top five guard conversation without a doubt now, man.
And before we move on any further, shouts to you for never falling off. Shouts to JDino.
Appreciate
staying consistent, staying on the train. You know, shame on me, shame on all of us who was looking elsewhere. At the end of the day, man, this work, you know, I know we touched on it like off air. It's like nothing's really changed. This is the same Warriors team from a couple years ago. You know, if they didn't get injured, we could be talking about five rings at this point.
Facts.
You know, 6, you know, whatever.
And, you know, coming into these playoffs, I remember a lot of people were asking me, man, you know, who my pick was. And especially, I know we had this conversation and you asked me, like, why are you picking the Warriors, man? And,
Heard the same
and
thing.
it's just one of those situations where I was just like, why not?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A healthy Warriors team. Why can't they get back to the championship? Why can't they? You know what I'm saying?
You know, you walk into Ben & Jerry's and you see all these different flavors of ice cream. You just get excited of the new ice cream of the year. And that was the Grizzlies for me. Yeah. You stuck with good old vanilla ice cream. You can't go wrong.
For real.
You know, throw some chocolate syrup on it and it's a wrap.
That was a great big body boy comparison.
Hey, I got to keep it back. You know, it's all about the body. You know?
And I got to shout out Mark Jackson, too. I feel like when we give Golden State their credit, we don't really bring up Mark Jackson enough. I feel like he should be offered, or he probably doesn't want to, but he should be considered in more head coaching jobs. He was the mastermind of what started and what kind of bred this Golden State team. You know what I mean? He essentially like kind of helped coach Klay into being Klay, and Draymond and Steph. He kind of gave them all the confidence. So I definitely got to shout out Mark Jackson. He should definitely be coaching a basketball team right now. Shout out Mark Jackson, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is big win, big championship for the Golden State Warriors. But at the same time, you know, I kind of got to compare it this way. You know, I think we all can agree that Jordan Poole, the pool party, got him here. You know, without Jordan Poole and the other Andrew Wiggins, I mean, big shots to Andrew Wiggins coming over. We were kind of clowning him during the All-Star break, being considered an All-Star, but it came to light. I mean, talking about a number one overall pick. Years back, you know, now he's in a new team, new situation. He's super athletic. Defense, what he was able to do, shut down Jason Tatum. It's
shut down.
Yeah. Shut him
Tatum
down.
stopper,
Shut
if
down.
you will.
And with that being said, I don't know who flopped more on Friday night, Saturday morning, however you want to look at it. Who flopped more, Jason Tatum or Drake? I don't know who flopped. I don't know who had a bigger flop. Because that Drake album was trash. I will say this, you know, every pool party needs that. You know, that one uncle that had too many dope beverages, that's Draymond Green. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to the chef. It all comes back to who's on that grill, cooking it up. And that was Chef Curry, the MVP. And, you know, he put himself in the conversation with one of the greats. I know in past shows we had conversations about the top guards and Steph Curry in that realm. does this MVP and this championship put him in the conversation with top players in the NBA history? And what,
I mean, I saw a real cool thing the other day, man, and they showed him sitting at the table with Shaq, with Bird, with Magic, with Jordan. How can you not, man? How can you not? For what he's done, like we've talked about, what he's done for the game,
right?
What he's done in the last 8 years. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, this team is a dynasty, and he's been the most consistent factor on it since the beginning, man. I mean,
absolutely.
Now, props to Chef. He finally got his. A lot of props to a lot of these Warriors, man.
Yeah.
I love the props you gave to Andrew Wiggins, man. Somebody who, like you said, was doubted. We slept on him. Everybody laughed at him. But that man was the Tatum stopper, if you ask me. I mean, Tatum could seem like he could get a bucket on anybody he wanted in that Milwaukee series and in that Miami series. But he got matched up against Andrew Wiggins. And, I mean, he averaged less from the 2 than the 3 this series because Andrew Wiggins, the minute he put the ball on the floor, he was on him like white on rice every single time.
He was settling too much for that little step back 3. Yeah. Every possession was that step back 3. It
was bad.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like he even affected Tatum mentally. Like we would see times he's trying to set up Al Horford and set up Marcus Smart. So he changed everything. You know, before this series, we would have never thought Wiggins would play better defense than Drew Holiday did and PJ Tucker did. Or Bam too. Like we just didn't even put Wiggins as a factor.
He's an athletic
he shut us
wing,
all up.
Man. He's an athletic wing, and why didn't we see it coming? You know what I'm saying?
If we have Middleton as an all-star, Wiggins just played like an all-star.
Oh, big time.
Simple as that. Yeah. There's a few all-stars. We laughed at him, but he played like an all-star.
And much props to another uncle on the team, Andre Iguodala. He was the one on the sidelines coaching Andrew Wiggins up every step of the way, man. Hey, Andre always been a great perimeter defender. And he showed Andrew Wiggins how to get it done, man. And props to Andrew for listening to him. You know what I'm saying? Listening to your uncle when he's talking, man.
He was essentially the Andre Iguodala of this series. Because, we've seen him score at times. We've seen Andre Iguodala get buckets, play defense. We've seen Andrew Wiggins do all of that, pretty much.
And all of these people we mentioned, and none of them are even, in my opinion, the X factor for this series. My opinion, the X factor for this series was the tallest 6'3" player in the NBA, as Steph Curry calls him, Gary Payton Jr.
The mitten.
Man, the young glove. Man, that guy, he didn't play in game 1, right?
Nope.
But then he played in the final 5 games after that, and they went 4 out of 5 games. He plays phenomenal defense throughout on Jaylen Brown to the point that I thought he was Houdini for a second. That guy disappeared for a couple games. X factor, in my opinion, Gary Payton Jr.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You always, all those championship teams, you always need those, you talk about the Bulls in the 90s with Steve Kerr. You talk about those guys that really ain't going to stuff the stat sheet too much, but they're going to do just enough to get the team over the hump. And Gary Payton was that guy for this series and for this team.
I mean, speaking of getting over the hump, he literally got him over the hump. The last 2 games of this series, the last 2 wins, it was him actually, not Steph Curry, not Clay, not Draymond. It was him that had the highest plus minus on the team. Props to Gary Payton Jr.
Yeah, runs in the family.
And he did it with, a little talk too. You know what I'm saying? It was nice to see him shut them boys down. And then talk about it afterwards, too, just like his dad does.
Yeah. Father and son both got rings now. Shout out to them.
Facts.
Both got them rings.
Facts, man. But hold on. Before we move on from these Golden State Warriors, we actually got a Golden State Warriors fan on set.
Yes, sir.
You want to come on, Rook?
Come on over.
Oh, snap.
All right, well, we got a young man in the house that was actually on the show a few weeks back, did a little live with us. Big time Golden State Warriors fan. I'd like to bring back to the show Jaden. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
Buddy.
Welcome back. Oh, you're not going to flex on him this time?
Body.
Oh, yeah, the real big bodies on the show.
Let's go.
Hey, man, but before we talk about your Golden State Warriors, let me not forget to give much props to Steve Kerr as well, man. 9th NBA championship, 4th as a coach, 5 as a player. I mean, he knows how to get it done, man, right? He's almost got 2 hands full now at this point in time. And he's doing it the modern way. You know what I'm saying? Shooting. Why? Because, don't know if you guys know, but he is the all-time leader in 3-point percentage in NBA history. So, you know, he brought that from the Bulls to this modern-day Golden State Warriors. And now these young boys get to talk about Steph Curry having a 4th championship. How you feel about that, Jaden?
I feel like he earned it because a lot of people doubted him and say he wasn't never going to win a Finals MVP, and he proved them wrong this series.
Did he? Okay. And obviously, you know, was it just a Golden State win, or did, you know, Boston kind of contribute to these?
Fumbled the bag, as you say.
A lot of dumb plays down the stretch by Marcus Smart and a stupid turnover between Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That really gave it away for them. Right.
So you're saying not so smart plays by Marcus Smart. That makes sense. But yeah, man, you mentioned Jason Tatum, and he actually made unfortunate history in these finals as well, fellas.
Legendary.
Jason Tatum actually had 100 turnovers exactly in these NBA playoffs this year. Most turnovers by a single player in NBA history. I mean,
it's Andrew Wiggins factor. Andrew Wiggins factor.
But I mean, they didn't play Andrew Wiggins 4 series.
That's true.
I mean,
that's true.
Jason Tatum had a tough go this year. I have to say, man. You know, he actually averaged the same numbers as LeBron in his first NBA Finals.
Almost identical.
23, 7 and 7. But
even the field goal percentage.
The field goal percentage was exactly identical. 36%. Not a good look, Jason Tatum. No. So you got to be real happy right about now, huh?
Yeah.
And what about these Warriors going forward? What do you think their plans are for next season? They gonna come back and repeat, or
next season? The first thing they need to do is trade Klay Thompson.
Whoa. Wow.
Yikes.
Whoa, hold on. That's a fire starter, young man. You want your Golden State Warriors, who we just got done saying, have a 3-man core of Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green to move on from one of their big pieces?
He's not the same no more. I feel like when Gary Payton and Jordan Poole, either one or both on the court, they do more than him nowadays.
Especially defensively. Like, that was a big part of how Klay was. And he, defensively, you would put him on a lot of the good players. That ain't happening no more.
No, facts.
At all.
Facts. There were a lot of times he got abused this series by Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. He allowed them to get their momentum going at times.
He ain't getting no stops.
Man, but that's a real hot take, man. So why would they make a move like that? Why do you think these Warriors would do something like that?
So it could give Gary Payton more minutes.
Because
a lot of the time they don't give him a lot of minutes unless he has to guard a certain player.
Now, I will go on record to say that if Gary Payton does get the minutes he deserves, I could definitely see him making an all-NBA defensive team for sure, at least.
You know, in a weird way, man, Jada kind of brings up a good point here. You know, we talk about this team and the longevity of these core members, but it's going to come to a certain point in time where they're going to have to address the salary cap situation. And, you bring up Klay Thompson's contract and we just big up Andrew Wiggins, and he's going to be looking for a contract pretty soon. Yeah, he's a free agent, and he's already come out publicly and said, he would like to stay. So, you know, we've seen weirder things happen. It could be a possibility that, you know, maybe Klay is the odd man out.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about Jordan Poole. He's going to want big money after his performance.
Yeah, we've seen what he can do in the regular season, and then there was a couple games where he stepped up in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah. And to add to that, you know, there's a lot of questions as far as minutes, like good problems that the Warriors have. To add to what Jada said, you know, you still got Wiseman who's coming back. And it's not like Looney, you can just say, I'm going to take Looney's minutes, but Looney showed up big time.
I mean, as a matter of fact, he showed up all 82 games this year. He was actually the only player that played all 82 games this year. So he definitely shows up.
He showed up, and the big, you know, compared to Wiseman, like you said, you know, he's healthy. We haven't seen Wiseman in a long time. And you still have, where am I going to fit in Kuminga with a good amount of minutes. Kuminga was a top 10 draft pick last season.
And he had flashes.
And he had flashes, and he's he could jump out the gym just like Gary Payne, but more. So, even money aside, you got a lot of minutes that you kind of need you know what I mean? Like, it's a fun issue to have.
Maybe they cut back on some of Draymond's minutes. I mean, it took him all 6 games this finals to average more points than fouls.
Yeah. That last game was huge. That last game was huge for him, man.
Didn't he go like 2 for 16 from 3 this series?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Be sure with the backpack on. With the JVSPORT.
Hey, but when he hit them 2, he let you hear it.
Yeah, he did.
He let you hear it when he hit them 2.
When he hit that mid-range, game 6, that was huge. Yeah. And of course, any bucket or foul, he could be 1 for 15. You're still going to see this right here. Boy. No matter what. Yeah. So,
and I think Jay mentioned it a little earlier in the series, man. That chess match with him and Grant Williams all series.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was fun. They were sore after every game, for sure.
They was best friends afterwards, though. But
I mean, we mentioned people leaving, not leaving with these Warriors, but we do know one person who's not leaving, and that's assistant coach Kenny Atkinson, who was slated to leave the team and become the new head coach for the Charlotte Hornets. And he's come out and said that he's going to stay. So that's possibly a good sign for them that they're going to run it back. So
a ring could change your mind.
That's true.
I haven't, we don't know specifically the exact reason, but I don't care what team you play for. It could be the most boring city in the world. They could offer you the bag. The ring is a ring.
Right.
I don't think I'd want to leave neither if I was Kenny.
Facts.
At all.
Facts. All right. Well, speaking of leaving, my man got to get back to his AAU camp. So, Jaden, we appreciate you joining the show again. Good luck to your Warriors again next year. Take the time this year to, do your gloating with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you in fantasy. It's around the corner. We'll see you then.
Yeah, and I'm going to name my team Big Body Boys.
Oh! Big Body Boy out.
Body.
All right, well, I know Jaden's hoping those Warriors repeat, but there's a lot of teams that are hoping they don't.
Facts.
Starting with these Dallas Mavericks, already making big news, going to getting Christian Wood from the Houston Rockets. That's a big move for Dallas and Houston, I think, man.
Facts.
What was the terms on that deal? Christian Wood traded to Dallas for Boban, Trey Burke, Sterling Brown, and the number 26 pick overall in this draft.
For Houston, I don't really like it. Just because, you had to get rid of Christian Wood.
Right.
But is Boban, I don't see Boban really playing. You're not going to play John Wall. You're not going to play Boban. Mm-hmm. You're not going to play Marquise Chris.
No.
I like Trey Burke. You're not going to play Trey Burke. Right. So you essentially traded him for the 20-something pick.
26 pick.
The players were just there just to be there. So,
I contract.
I would have wanted a little more. But, 3 first-round picks, so I guess that's not bad. I guess the pick was it, pretty much.
That's what Houston's looking to do anyway, man. They're rebuilding. They had the number 2 pick last year, take Jalen Green. They still got young Kevin Porter over there as well. Mm-hmm. So 3 first-round picks sounds about right for a rebuilding team.
Adding a first-round pick to a team who's already come out and said that there's, they may be looking forward to moving up in the draft. Could be, a good addition to make that happen.
Yeah. And interestingly, the same day Paulo worked out and was at Houston, Christian Wood got traded the same day. So that could be it.
Makes sense.
They got something up their sleeve.
I think they've come to the conclusion with, a top 3 pick, they're going to probably get one of these 3 big guys that are going in the draft. So I think they just, reset themselves at the big man position and move on from Christian Wood. But I like the move for Dallas personally.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time.
I feel like that's exactly what Dallas was missing this year. He's a stretch big who can block shots, hold down that interior. He's definitely a huge upgrade from Dwight Powell. That's for sure.
Yeah. He could do it all.
And Chris Stapps.
He can do it all. Yeah.
Big upgrade there too. I'm assuming this is what they wanted from Porzingis, and didn't really work out too well. And now they get Christian Woods to step in there and get Luka some help. And, we saw what they were able to do this year. Now you add another, stretch big that can play defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could be talking about Dallas next year a lot.
They didn't have Tim Hardaway too. The year before when Tim Hardaway was healthy, we'll see him get buckets. So you throw Tim Hardaway in there. Dorian Finney-Smith is now, a two-way shooter, if you will, with them. Dinwiddie's Dinwiddie, and now you got essentially, he's like an all-star. He plays like an all-star. He's going to give you all-star numbers when it comes to playing alongside Luka. So that's going to be good.
Yeah.
Address the Jalen Brunson contract. Address that. Lock that in, and these Mavericks will be ready to roll next season.
Yeah. So Dallas isn't the only team, obviously, that's going to be looking to, dethrone these champs, man. Obviously, we don't know where guys like Kyrie or Bradley Beal are going to end up, for that matter. Where do you think they might find themselves, man?
Beal's in a good position right now. I could see him fitting beautifully in Miami next to Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry if he stays.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, perfect scenario, disregarding cap space and money. I would love to see him starting shooting guard for the Bucks. Drew Holiday,
crazy.
Bradley Beal.
Right.
You got Middleton, Giannis, and Lopez. That would be beautiful to me. I could even see the Clippers. He could fit in a lot of places with a lot of teams because he's a great player. So it's gonna, he has a good, decisions already made. So I guess we're gonna see.
Yeah.
Decisions made. We're gonna see real soon. It's gonna be good.
And he's not revealing it just yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, where the salary cap, what team has the cap space to make the move happen. I mean, I know it's the NBA and they're playing with monopoly money anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But
wait, I thought that was the Rams.
They might be going to the Rams. Who knows? But you mentioned the Kyrie. News just broke that him and the Nets are, not seeing eye to eye with the contract and
going through it right now.
He could be potentially hitting the free agency market. You mentioned the Clippers. Could we see
perfect?
That's actually one of the three teams apparently that they've been in conversation with is the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Knicks. So I don't really know where Kyrie's going to end up, but it doesn't surprise me at all. It's just I feel like this ends up just being another excuse for Kyrie not to play.
Yeah.
There's always a reason. There's always a reason Kyrie can't play. Yeah. Whether it's mental or physical. Yeah. Whatever, man. There's always something going on with Kyrie, and I have a feeling this is just Kyrie's going to hold out now because he's going to be looking for a contract. It's just something else with Kyrie this year again.
As a fellow brother that loves a good conspiracy, Kyrie, man, come on. It's just too much, man. It's just too
play
much.
Ball, man.
Play ball, man. Just play ball. You're one of the greatest players in the game right now. Just play ball. But I will say this. This might be dating myself, but you guys remember that old movie, Homeward Bound? Where, the family leaves and the two dogs and the cat, they just trying to go find the family. I think this is going to be a Homeward Bound situation, and Kyrie's going to find his way back home with LeBron in LA, and all things are going to be right in the world. So
I wouldn't be mad at that.
I wouldn't be mad at Jeannie Buss has already come out and said what they did last year was an absolute failure. Going over this the luxury tax that, they can do it again and get Kyrie over there with LeBron.
Maybe a Kyrie for Westbrook?
Hey, I mean, come on, the contracts are probably similar. So
I mean, if when KD was on the Warriors, you had KD, Steph, Clay, Draymond. Like, we were questioning how they was paying everybody.
Monopoly money, man.
And you still had DeMarcus getting his little bit of change.
Right.
So if the Warriors can figure it out, bro, it's one of these teams.
If anybody can do
some
it,
magic,
the Lakers can do it. I'll tell you that. So
they could do something.
Kyrie going back to Los Angeles, you guys will be happy.
All right, well, yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of teams that are going to be trying to do it in the free agency market, but there's also these teams that are going to be looking to do it in this NBA draft.
Huge.
Coming up this Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Let's dive into it, gentlemen. Let's talk about some of these picks. The Orlando Magic might be taken at 1, maybe these OKC Thunder at 2.
Yes, sir.
Let's line up maybe like the top 10 for these people, man.
This is going to be a great draft. And OKC and the Magic, we just need to keep in the back of our mind, the dynasty Golden State is, they pretty much almost drafted all those players.
Yep.
Aside from Wiggins or KD or whoever it was, you drafted most of those players. We seen the Bucks go crazy. Aside from Drew Holiday or the extras like PJ Tucker, you drafted most of those players. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of teams, when the Celtics had their squad, aside from Ray Allen, well, I guess Kevin Garnett too, but a lot of these championship teams, the core is you got to draft good. You can't just do all of these trades like the Rams and just cook up a championship team in the free agency or whether it's trading. So, we just gotta tighten up, man. We got to tighten up. The rebuild can't last too long.
Yeah. This has got to be enough is enough, Orlando. Let's do it. Let's start here. Let's start right now. We have the young core set in place. Talk about Jalen Suggs, last year's first-round pick. Jonathan Isaac. Come on now.
Gotta go.
I mean, come on.
Gotta go.
It's put up or shut up time. You're either with us or you gotta go.
I don't even know when he played last.
Him on the
court. Where's he play? Who played last? Him or TJ Warren? TJ Warren played in the bubble.
He was bubble.
Was it 2 years ago?
TJ, right?
Like
TJ,
yeah.
I mean, injuries are unfortunate, but like you said.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But, like I said, the core's in place. We'll see what the Mo Bamba situation is going into the offseason. Cole Anthony's there.
To stay.
Markel, let's go. I mean, we're ready. So we're here, man.
Franz from last year. Young boys, man. I can't wait as a Magic fan.
Yeah. I'm a big Wendell Carter fan, too. When he got drafted, I was high on him. And whether he died down on Chicago, he showed us, why he got drafted, the position he got drafted. So shout out Wendell Carter. He's a beast.
I think I've said it on past shows, man. Wendell Carter is because he plays best at the 4.
Yeah.
Chicago was trying to force him to play in the 5, and he's a great 4. But you play him slightly out of position, he's obviously going to take a little bit of
and he can still do both. That's the crazy part, too. Yeah.
And he might be doing both real soon. I mean, depending on where the Magic go with this number 1 pick.
So, it's a good problem to have, man.
Where do you think these Magic are going, Big J?
As a Magic faithful, Magic fan, going into this, weeks leading up to the draft, I was a big Jabari Smith supporter. I was just love the shooting ability that he brings. The perimeter defense is probably the highest out of all these guys in the draft. But diving in a little bit more, doing some more research, really dialing in this draft. A player has risen up to my board as the number 1, and I'm gonna say that the Orlando Magic, maybe not sure, but I think, my personal opinion, Paolo Banchero, Duke, forward. Dookie boy.
I know Nelly was screaming his name from the first.
After watching him and doing some studies, I just feel like he is what the Magic need. We as a Magic fan, we always said, man, we don't have a player that can go get a bucket, that you can give the ball to and he can break down the defense. And Paolo gives you that. He's a playmaker. He can score in the interior. His spin move is crazy. I love his spin move when the ball's in his hands.
Tough to stop.
So he's risen up to the top of my board. And not to mention, he is, with no sneakers on, 6'10", measured in at 6'10". So he's probably 6'11" with sneakers. He's going to be pushing 250 as he grows into his body. I think Paolo's my pick at number 1 for the Magic.
And my favorite part is he's only 19 years old, man. So there's definitely so much room to grow, man. Yeah. Obviously, he's got a great feel for the game coming in already, So I think he'll fit great with the Magic. I know I was high on Chet, man, just because I love the versatility and I love the compliment to Wendell Carter. Facts. But I think the pick is probably Paolo, man. I like Paolo, man. As an OKC fan, though, where do you hope the Magic go, and where do you hope
the twist,
and what do you hope they leave you guys?
Honestly, obviously, we here in Florida, so I just want the Magic to pick, honestly, whoever they want to pick. Whether, let's say, we get Paolo at 2, like he said, great post player, and he has some defensive upside, and he played guard his whole career. That's one of the main things when I look at OKC. I don't want a ball stopper. I don't want somebody who's going to slow down our offense, and he's an underrated passer. Very underrated passer. So I'm mad we go Paolo.
It's actually a pretty cool stat about Paolo I forgot to mention, man, is that he actually was 6'1" going into, 7th grade and grew all the way to 6'5". So that's exactly why he learned to go from guard to playing a big, man, because he was pretty much forced to.
He's still growing.
Yep.
All of these guys are still growing. I'm not mad at any of the top 3 falling to OKC. I don't care what order it is. Jabari could be like a two-way Rashard Lewis. He's pretty much, to me, the best 3-point shooter in the draft. Yeah, and, you know, you come to OKC, you got one of the best playmakers, if not the best playmaker in last year's draft, and Josh Giddey. He's going to just thrive in our system. Agreed. And then if we go to Chet, you know, we got Josh Giddey and Shea running pick and rolls with Chet Holmgren. That'll be beautiful too. Chet had a nice 3-point percentage, so they're going to respect him in the perimeter shooting. And, you know, whether he's frail or not, you still got to be aware of him in the paint. I don't care if you're not posting up or not. You 7-7-1. So no matter who it is, I'm just happy that we have the second pick, honestly.
And apparently there's big talk about Chet wanting to go to OKC.
Yeah, so. You know, I've seen the same thing with a few other players, but any of the top 3, I would love. Any of the top 3 can fit perfect in our system.
Okay, well, I came on the record. I say Paolo's #1 pick to Orlando Magic. You're on the clock. OKC, who do you want?
I would select Jabari. Just because I think he fits perfectly with us. We weren't a great 3-point shooting team. And he, like I said, to me, he's the best 3-point shooter in this draft. He just has to learn to create his shot a little more. We weren't really seeing him hit people with moves. A lot of his shots, he was just shooting over you. Get in the corner, just shooting over.
His shot is unblockable.
Yeah, you know, he's 6'10", so he could shoot over anybody. He could play the 4, even if we want to start him at the 3, and he could play. If his defense gets better in the paint, we could put him at the 5. The way we seen PJ Tucker play the center for the Rockets. So
not everybody plays as physical as PJ.
I would play it safe, but I wouldn't be mad at all if we chose Chet. But I'm going Jabari. I just think he fits perfectly with us. Perfectly.
Yeah, I think that's a great addition as well. You know, after watching at least the top 3 guys, you know, that's one thing I did notice. You mentioned about Jabari is the perimeter work. Yeah. Whether it's on the offensive side, but also the defensive side. Yeah. You know, the perimeter defense, probably the best in this draft. Work on his playmaking ability a little bit more, you know, to be able to get his own bucket. He did a lot with just, you know, doing what he could do to get, like you said, shoot over people.
Yeah.
And then Chet to me, you know, gives you great interior defense.
Monster.
Probably best in this draft class. You know, almost at 4 blocks a game. But he, like I said a couple weeks ago, you know, he's the unicorn of this draft class. You know, he does give you, like JDino said, is versatility. You know, maybe has an Evan Mobley play style where he can maybe guard people on the perimeter just for little stints in the game. If the big knock for him is his size, I mean, that could be addressed.
Right.
You know, I put him on the big body meal plan, put some weight on him. And
some Costco pizza.
You know,
be all right.
Yeah, so great point. But other than that, I mean, he gives you the interior scoring, you know, showing a consistent jumper. You know, in today's game, having a 7-footer that can shoot consistently on the outside is great.
Huge.
You know, like you said, Javi, is any one of these 3, I think, are great fits for either one of these 3 teams, honestly.
Right.
To me, Paolo gives you me he does all the things really well. Yeah. You know, great scorer, can play defense when he wants to. Let's get that a little bit more out of him on the defensive side.
Consistently.
He can get to the bucket at the same time, and he's going to grow into his body, you know. 6'10", it's going to be 250. You know, we've seen guys like Ben Simmons, LeBron James, these kind of guys. And Jason Tatum now, you know, has grown into his body and now a big body boy. So he's my guy. You say Jabari is your guy.
And that means Houston, they move on from Christian Wood, like we mentioned earlier, and they get gifted with potentially Chet Holmgren at the number 3. So either way we put it, Houston's going to end up with a nice little gem in that 3rd spot. Yeah. But if we're looking past the top 3, you know, if we're looking at these 4 and 5 picks, you know, Sacramento and Detroit. Yeah. All right.
You never know.
Who are some of these teams looking at?
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. There's a lot of scouts that have Jaden Ivey ranked really high. You know, he's going to work out with the top 5 teams. I highly doubt he's going past 5 unless it's like a trade or something weird like that. But, you know, I wouldn't be stunned, even though they traded Christian Wood, if, you know, they try to pair Jaden Ivey up with Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. You know, we got, at worst, a great value John Morant. But at best, he takes off and he's just like a 2K pure slashing point guard sometimes when it comes to his play style. So, you know, I do like Jaden Ivey, but for OKC, I don't think he needs to be in OKC. I don't think he needs to be in the Magic neither. You know, I know a lot of people are like, he's a good wing player. He's a good point guard. He wasn't averaging a high amount of assists in Purdue, and he wasn't running the show in Purdue. He was just attacking and trying to create his little shots. So I don't need him in OKC. I don't need him in the Magic.
I don't really think any of the top 3 really need him. But does the 4th pick in the Sacramento Kings need another guard either?
If they don't trade and somehow get like a package for someone, if they want to draft the 4th spot, I think, a Keegan Murray or Benedict Mathurin will be perfect for them. A nice small forward. Both of them are kind of remind me of each other. You can kind of do it all. Both need to, I guess you could say, improve defensively in a way. But Keegan Murray would be perfect. I would love Keegan Murray. Not at the 2nd pick, but I would love Keegan Murray in OKC. I see a lot of talk of, we want to do Shaedon Sharpe. We want Jaden Ivey. I'm taking Keegan Murray over Shaedon Sharpe and Jaden Ivey easily.
Leading scorer in college. 12th pick too, right? So, there's no way he falls to 12. I doubt it.
No.
But I'm sure there'll be some moving and grooving, some wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, Kings need a trade.
Keegan Murray is a guy that interests me. I guess the knock on him is it's not even a knock. We've seen guys like Desmond Bain come out in the league and show, but he's 21 years old already. He's older, which could be a good thing. He's more established. He's older. His head is probably a little bit more mature. His game is going to be mature. Could be addition with the Kings, but I see the Kings as a team that's going to be looking to make some moves, try to get up in the top 3, top 4. We'll see.
It's already on record that this isn't a rebuild for the Kings. This is a slight retool, and they're gonna try to push to play as good as they can, and whether that's the play-in or that's 8th or 7th, like the Kings aren't trying to rebuild.
You talk about the core they have. You bring over Sabonis now, so you have Sabonis, a legit 4, all-star scorer, an all-star. We talked about
Swiper, De'Aaron Fox,
De'Aaron Fox, and Davion Mitchell. So they have pieces in place, to plug and play another player, an established player, maybe like a Keegan Murray could be a good core to build around.
They can do what the Kings do and just get another guard. So another thing, I said they don't need him, but I wouldn't be surprised if just pick Jaden. If they pick Jaden Ivey, and like when they had Tyrese Halliburton, now they got Davion Mitchell. And just find themselves in another mess. Yeah. So there's a lot of options for them, but I see them definitely trading something.
I think they want to move up into that top 3 for sure.
And you still have, Rashawn Holmes. I know he had some allegations or whatever it was, but when he was playing, his minutes decreased a lot. We know from fantasy players, Rashawn Holmes was nice. Yeah. Whether we wasn't watching, Rashawn Holmes was playing good. So I could see them packaging Rashawn Holmes and the pick for something good because, he's
still a young talent.
Yeah, he wasn't playing too much when Sabonis came. Everything changed.
Right. But let's go. Let's dive a little bit deeper. Give us that big board, man, that top 10.
1, 2, and 3. Whatever order you want, 1, 2, and 3. At first, I did have Chet and Jabari, but if you watch a lot of highlights and watch film of Paolo, he's a monster. You can't not pick a player who just thrives in the post like that. He's a go-to bucket getter. And for me, the highest, one of my favorite attributes is I just think he's a great playmaker. Right. Like you said, Magic need a bucket getter, but he could still give you 4 or 5 assists a game. He reminds me of like a 2 years ago, how Julius Randle was. He had that killer season. I think he could be that even better.
And although the Magic have a couple great guards that are really trying to shoulder that weight, man, I think they could use a guy that they could go get a bucket from in the post more than anything. So I think that's exactly why I think that should be their pick.
Yeah, I think Paolo, for me, right now, he's number 1. He's the most NBA ready. And he still has a lot of upside defensively. He still can improve, of course, from three-point range. So Paolo's number 1 if I'm putting all my biasness aside with all of this Jabari and Chet stuff. And I have to put, if I'm taking away the worries and the doubts I have to put Chet at number 2. We're going to hear everybody say, he's frail or whatever it was. I got Chet at number 2. I think he has a high upside. He could still gain some weight. And like y'all said, that all of that could change. I got Jabari at number 3. And 4, honestly, I got Keegan Murray. regardless of if he's a sophomore or not, and he's not 18 and 19 like a lot of these rookies will be.
Right.
I got Keegan Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm gonna go with Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey, like we said, you know, he could be like a John Morant. He's a sophomore. From freshman to sophomore year, he went from the 20-ish percentages in 3-point to the 30s,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still low 30s,
Mm-hmm.
and he needs to improve as a shooter. Speaking of, it's kind of the same way we've seen John Morant. As far as Shaedon Sharpe, man, I just don't know. Like, I see a lot of talk, but you're going off of the EYBL league and high school. Like, this guy got to be really the truth for you to essentially draft a college player.
I mean, we've seen guys like Kyrie miss time. I know Kyrie missed the whole freshman season and came in the league and was okay. But
facts.
Yeah, it's hard to really gauge.
Yeah. And he's 18, you know, so he has arguably the biggest upside, but that could also be, you know, he's done good in highlights. He's done good in high school. Mm-hmm. He's done good in the EYBL league, but it's also like, bro, we're watching the same 5 YouTube videos about him.
Right,
you know what I mean? So it's like,
you got to show us more, kid.
Yeah, somebody's going to roll the dice on him. And, you know, he personally scares me a lot because Sam Presti, you know, he essentially kind of found Harden. Harden wasn't a big dog in college. Mm-hmm. Westbrook wasn't a big dog in college. Mm-hmm. So Presti, he's full of himself. Mm-hmm. So I could see us, unfortunately, just picking Shaedon Sharpe. Wow. I could see us trading Lou Dort to the Blazers or the Kings, and Presti tries to find another star. Next up, I think it's either Dyson Daniels or Benedict Mathurin, but
I think it's safe to say those are 7 and 8, though.
Yeah. I think Benedict Mathurin Benedict Mathurin's a stud. I see a lot of, you know, when we've seen Andrew Wiggins' athleticism, he's a bucket getter. But like a lot of these players in the draft, aside from a handful, got to improve defensively. But I like Benedict Mathurin. He could jump out the gym. And Dyson Daniels is another interesting one because, you know, a month ago before all of these workouts, a lot of people didn't even have Dyson Daniels in the top 10. G League Ignite, which is crazy. Like, bro, years ago, the G League wasn't even like you weren't drafting G League Ignite players.
No, not at all.
But he's like a nice two-way guard. Yep. 6'6". Mm-hmm. So he can give you, like, you know, the way we look at Lonzo, the way we look at, like, maybe not as high, but the way we look at Drew Holiday, like a guard who can just lock up.
Right.
He's probably the best defensive guard in this draft, but his shooting numbers aren't there. Yeah. So if you picking Dyson Daniels, it's going straight off of kind of like a Shaedon Sharpe. I hope he turns into a shooter, and I hope he gets better. But his defensive IQ and his feel for the game is just one of the highest in the draft.
Well, him playing in the G League, you know, we've seen guys like Jonathan Kuminga and Jalen Green from last year. They play in the G League. And, you know, their motto is that they're training you to be a professional. So they're getting that professional coaching, you know, from day one. So he could be a guy that, you know, ends up being more productive or early in his career because of the G League system.
And, you know, originally I was hoping, you know, OKC, we need a center badly. So Jalen Duren was like, you know, we talked about in the break room a while ago. Jalen Duren reminds me of a young Dwight Howard. Yeah. He's going to be 18 draft day. And this kid is just
love his physicality. Love.
Monster. Of course, the question, just like with defense with a lot of these players, is a lot of the elite centers, it's like, okay, can they stretch the floor? Right. Can you go from a Brook Lopez that was just Brook Lopez to now you're Brook Lopez? Now you're one of the best shot blockers, and now you can stretch the floor. Right. So Jalen Duren is another one that I feel like he's going to end up maybe on the Knicks, or I wouldn't be mad seeing him in OKC. Okay. But Jalen Duren is a beast.
All right. So round out your top 10 for us. Give me that 10th one. That sounds like 9 players to me. Javi, our NBA draft expert. Give us your 10th pick if you are the number 10 pick in the draft.
10 is real tough, but probably Jeremy Sohan. Jeremy Sohan is like arguably the best defender in the whole draft. You know what I mean?
I love that.
6'9", he's going to be 18, early 19s draft night, and he could be a power forward or a small forward on any team and guard 1 through 5 easily. He can be a Draymond. He could be a Ben Simmons. Maybe not as good of a playmaker as the two, but you do see high playmaking upside, and you have seen shades of him making good plays for a lot of teams. So just because of his defensive upside, I definitely like Sohan as number 10. I got to put him at number 10.
A lot of nice names you mentioned here. Yeah. Man. I'm a huge fan of that Jeremy Sochan one, though.
Yeah. Lock.
Two-way player, man. Great defender. He can go any position on the court, man. Yeah. I think that's my number 10 pick, if you ask me, man. If we're looking at potential and upside, if this guy can gain even this much of a jump shot, man, that guy, he's got a lot of potential.
But then again, you got somebody like Johnny Davis that people might pick Johnny Davis over Sohan, which he's like a Jamal Crawford, Bradley Beal, straight bucket getter. But it's only from mid-range. From 3-point, he's not really, kind of like one of DeMar DeRozan's all-star years. Like you was going crazy, getting buckets, maybe not finishing as much at the rim, but your 3-point percentage isn't crazy. So I see, Johnny Davis is another one that I feel like he could be 10 or 11. I could see him going to the Knicks. I could see him going to the Wizards. Or, aside from injuries, you got AJ Griffin, another Dookie boy. One of the highest upsides of any player, including Chet, anyone. But he's dealt with injuries his whole career. He's dealt with knee injuries. He's dealt with ankle injuries. If he didn't have the injuries he's had, instead of Shaedon Sharpe or maybe even Jaden Ivey, we'd be talking about AJ Griffin right now.
Right. True.
But those injuries, I see him falling a little more to like 12 or 13. And then you still got Ochai Agbaji that, big body, gave him a lot of love. He can fall. I think he's going to be from like 10 to 15, 16, hopefully. Yeah. I could see him going to a Cavs. He led Kansas to the championship, essentially. They had a good team, but he was the big dog.
He was probably the best player in the tournament,
Yeah, the only thing is he's a senior and he's 21. But I definitely see him fitting perfectly in the Cavs. The Hornets have a lot of draft picks. I could see him fit nicely with the Hornets. So, Agbaji's nice. Another one that scares me more maybe than Shaedon Sharpe, there's this, he played for the New Zealand Breakers, I think the team is, Ousmane Dieng. He went from unranked, nobody was really paying him no mind, and now he essentially has the highest upside in the entire draft. Nice. Once again, like Shaedon Sharpe, that's somebody that OKC can take. 6'10", huge, big body boy, and we see him have like decent ball handling at 6'10". We've seen him create his own shots. We've seen him get buckets. We've seen flashes, but he's just a raw prospect. It's all upside with him.
Could be the Giannis of this draft class. I remember Giannis got drafted.
That's kind of, and he might have.
I like that.
I don't know Giannis's numbers, but this guy's numbers were worse. No lie. Like, it's all.
Doesn't matter what they were.
All upside, I hope so. So
he's got the frame. He's 6'9", but he's slight. 185, but. Hey, we've seen guys put on some size like Giannis.
Yeah.
I remember when he was drafted, everybody was, who's this?
Yeah, so he scares me. He's another one that, if you pick him and he hits, he's going to be a beast. But I don't want OKC to risk it. Certain teams can risk it. I don't want us to risk it.
That's what this draft is about, risking it for the biscuit.
2 years off of a rebuild, pretty much, because we was just against the Rockets in the Game 7 with Chris Paul. I was right there. I guess we can't risk it, but I don't want us to take no risk. I don't think the Magic should take any risk. Go with the safe pick.
Yep.
But there's tons of options. This list just doesn't stop. This is going to be a crazy year.
Good draft class.
Yeah, you got
definitely a good draft class.
2 more G League Ignite players, Jaden Hardy, Marlon Beauchamp. Both of these guys are going to be top 30.
Yeah.
Both hoopers. So shout out to the G League. Shout out to the G League Ignite. Last year you had hoopers. This year you got hoopers. There's a lot of options. A lot of trades going to happen this year for sure.
True indeed. All right, well, that's all the draft coverage we got, but obviously we got some more big body news that we got to make sure we make mention of. So send it over to the Kobe Corner for the big body news.
A lot of big news, on the court news, but in the women's side. WNBA legend Sue Bird.
UConn.
Retires.
Hanging it up.
From WNBA. This is big news.
Shout out to her, man. 11-time All-Star, 4-time champion, right? Former number 1 pick. She's had a great career.
When you look at the WNBA, there's the pillars of WNBA. Lisa Leslie, Tina Thompson, Diana Taurasi, And Sue Bird is in that list.
Yeah,
She's one of the pillars who held up that.
She is a pillar on the Mount Rushmore in the WNBA. No question.
Yeah, but before we leave the courts, because, you know, we was on the court all day, right? We're going to switch it to the other court, talk about the tennis court, and my girl Serena Williams.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Go.
40 years old. Serena Williams.
Yeah.
Back into Wimbledon.
Crazy.
Good for her, man.
Great legend.
She's actually won this specific tournament 7 times already. Last time was when she defeated Angelique Kerber in the 2016. She was actually in it last year, but she was forced to leave because of injury. So I'm sure she's looking to revenge that and try to win her another title.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about 23-time singles Grand Slam champion.
Second in tennis only to Roger Federer. So it looks like she is looking to try to at least tie him in this one.
40 years old. She's been in 60 Grand Slam tournaments.
That's fantastic.
60. So that's, you know, that's the definition of an athlete right there.
She's got 39 total Grand Slam championships.
Yeah. So she's been doing this since 1998 as well. I mean, been at the top of the game. You know, we mentioned we're talking about the WNBA pillars. Serena Williams right there and as a pillar in tennis, but also women's sports in general.
Oh,
you know,
in sports in general. Yeah. I think Serena Williams, if you ask me, is one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. You know, she on the court in tennis, but also off. You know, pop culture. She's known. She's laid a legacy. Her and her sister, for that matter, both of Venus as well.
I'm on record to say Serena Williams is the GOAT of tennis.
Facts.
And on the field news, big boy deal right here. Minka Fitzpatrick, safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers, signs a 4-year, $73 million deal. Jeez. Highest contract for NFL safety in the history, surpassing Jamal Adams. $36 million guaranteed. Paid him.
I mean, he deserves it. That's for sure. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, so that's one Miami let go, man. Miami let him go. The Dolphins did, but big payday for Minka. Well deserved. And some more on the field news. Maybe not as big, but Odell Beckham not expected back until October.
I mean, that injury happened late, you know what I'm saying? So that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, at least he got his ring to look at.
Yeah, sure. And some more potentially on the field, but off the field news. Touching back to the Deshaun Watson saga.
Is he going to be on the field or off the field?
And that's what we're getting at. It's looking like Deshaun Watson is seeking a 1-year suspension from the NFL, which in essence could be a good thing.
Looking at what the allegations are?
Yes.
Could be worse.
You would be blessed to take that 1 year, low-key.
Yeah, for sure. Some people are saying, why isn't he already on the commissioner's exempt list? That I can't say too, but
I don't know. But I think you mentioned it. Don't throw them Baker Mayfield jerseys away. As a matter of fact, the Browns are probably going to stall on those talks that they've had with the Panthers as of recently.
Yeah, you might need to start apologizing, low-key.
Yep. And some more big body news is Matt Fitzpatrick wins the U.S. Open with 1-stroke lead. So for all my golf fans out there, there you go.
There you go.
But that's it. Sending it back to you, JDino, in the studio.
Before we leave the field, though, how your Mets doing in the MLB?
Nah, but my Mets are hooping, man. You know, they're doing good. 44-24, leading the National League, and we have the best home record in the National League. I still got to watch a lot more, you know what I mean? I got my jersey at home, but you know what I mean? We coming up, you know what I mean? You hear a lot of this Yankee talk.
Mm-hmm. Hey, man.
Let's give the Mets some love.
We here, though.
Let's give the Mets some love.
No, facts, man. I mean, we mentioned it last week, and it hasn't changed, man. Both New York teams are actually on top right now. So
Tri-State killing it right now.
You do got to watch out for those Atlanta Braves, though. Huge 14-game winning streak that just got snapped, but they've pulled to within 5.5 of you guys. So you got to watch out for them.
Yeah, it feels like we're back in the 90s again, man, when the Yankees, the Mets, and the Braves at the top of baseball.
Dodgers, too. Dodgers. Yeah, leading that division as well, man.
The MLB staples,
yeah, man. I mean,
on top right now.
Facts. And you guys, I mean, shout out to you guys on top right now.
Too. Half of my family's Mets, half of my family's Yankees. So I can't hate them. I can't hate the Yankees. Shout out to the Yankees.
Nah, but you guys should be getting Scherzer and DeGrom back soon. Yeah. So you guys should be looking for a strong push to end the season. Pete Alonso actually has 19 home runs right now with 63 RBIs. And that shortstop, man, Francisco Lindor,
hooping.
Killing it, man. 52 RBIs as well, man. So shout out to the Mets right now.
Yeah, we need them both back. You know, we're doing good, and half of the jerseys sometimes are DeGrom in the crowd. And we still haven't had him back yet, so it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. A good rest of the season.
He's you guys' ace, man. He's you guys' ace. You guys, he should be back soon. Be ready to push you guys towards a good playoff run.
Yeah.
All right.
Take his time. There's like 100 games or whatever it is. We'll be all right.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, gentlemen. Well, that's all the time we got for today, man. Big body boy. Appreciate you holding down that Kobe corner.
Big body, big show. Jeez.
And my man Javi. Appreciate all the draft coverage, man. Thank you, my man. And NBA analyst in the house.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting come Thursday. We're going to see a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. We'll be there Thursday. And as usual, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check us out at sportjv.com. Support the merch. JDino 407 for savings. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys mash that like and subscribe button. And obviously, if you guys want to support the show, cash app us at $JVSPORTSROOM. And as usual, I got a quote from you guys from legendary WNBA Sue Bird. The one thing you learn is when you step out of your comfort zone and become uncomfortable, you see what you're made of and who you are. Thank you guys for watching.